We're taking it slow, crafting life as we go. From laughs to tools, from brews to skies, we're squeezing joy, no need to try. It's life with a twist of lemon. Two best friends and a vibe you can lean on. Tales, ideas, and a pinch of delight. We're bringing sunshine day or night. It's life with a twist of lemon. Two best friends and a vibe you can lean on. Tales, ideas, and a pinch of delight. We're bringing sunshine day or night. Life with a twist. Life with a twist. Life with a twist of lemon.
This is life.
With a twist of lemon. Well, Jonathan, it's cold in the Midwest.
Well, it sounded like it was cold where you were too.
Yes, but it is relative cold, right? So this is like crazy. Where I was at was cold for what I expected, but still warmer than here.
Well, I like the ball cap that you got. I assume that's a new purchase.
There's a story. No, I did not purchase this hat. I got this hat from the cruise director.
Ah, we'll get to that later.
This was a gift. Yeah, we'll get to that later. No, so stories of my demise have been greatly exaggerated. I was disconnected from the universe mostly for a week. My cruise ship was destined to stop in 3 locations, but it only made one. And let's just say there's not a lot going on Tortola. And it was rainy and windy. But we got off the boat. We walked around. Our excursions were canceled across the board. But as my dear friend Jonathan reminded me, the ship is the destination.
That is how I cruise. At this point, I feel like you cruise very differently than I do. But, you know.
I don't know that that's true. Okay. So because I enjoy the boat. I enjoy the boat a lot, right? I think what messed with me on this time around, because I love a good day at sea. Like I genuinely love a day at sea. But if you wake up and you're planning to go ashore and then you watch the boat approach shore and then pull away, like it messes with you, right? And if in the case of Castaway Cay, which I was really excited to go to, if you watch the boat do that twice, first of all, it's a lot of time. You know, right? Like, I'm not going to go commit to go doing something else because, like, oh, maybe we're going to get off the boat, maybe we're not. And you know, like I don't know, it's different to not stop someplace where you thought you were going to stop, and to have a sea day are very different, right? That's my big takeaway from this trip. So I will say, I still love cruising, and I am not like down on Disney or anything like that. Because of this, like they can't control the weather. They prioritized safety, and we did what we had to do. But I would have loved to have stopped. I would have loved to have stopped at Castaway in particular.
Yep. The Disney Islands are fantastic and are so far my favorite ports, but I haven't been on an Alaska or European sailing. So
Alaska and Europe, totally, like you gotta categorize those as different kinds of cruising. Right. They're just fundamentally different. When you talk about Western Caribbean, Eastern Caribbean, Bahamas, right? I think you can generally lump those together. And there's cool stuff to do on those islands, but you're not going, like nobody's going to Jamaica or Grand Cayman to see the Parthenon, right? Like that's not the type of destination it is. It doesn't make it any less special or anything like that, but it's not that kind of destination. And so what you do, how you think about it, the way you plan for it is just fundamentally different, right?
Fair enough. Although of the Caribbean cruise itineraries, supposedly you were just on the one with the best ports, which I guess you can't speak to because you didn't stop at the one. And
we didn't make it to St. Thomas. So it's a 7-night cruise. There were only 3 days. With ports, it was going to be St. Thomas, Tortola, and Castaway Cay. Everybody loves Castaway Cay. I mean, there's nothing to not love. Like it's just fantastic in every way. St. Thomas, I was looking forward to. Tortola, like, you know, okay. I didn't know anything special about Tortola, but I will tell you, Tortola was beautiful. It was absolutely gorgeous. St. Thomas, we got pretty close to docking, and it looked quite beautiful. even with, wind and maybe a little bit of schwitzy rain. But yeah, I don't know. They look lovely. We were going to do a catamaran sail at one and then go to Joost van Dyke off of Tortola for the other. So it was like a boat to a beach kind of thing. Those got canceled before we even got to the island because of the wind. And here, I will say this. So I noticed the boat moving, but whatever they've done to the treasure in particular on the stabilizer front, or maybe it was just like brilliant navigating by the captain, I don't know. It really wasn't a rocky cruise. Like there were a couple times where we noticed it, but I still look back to the time I was on the Wish in October, where I could be laying in bed and I would be airborne. Like
Okay.
So
same class even.
Same class even, but it was just smoother, and maybe it just wasn't that bad relative. I don't know, but yeah, I will say so. I took more advantage of the treasure than we did the Wish, but I really like the theming of the Wish and the crew. Sorry, I really like the theming of the treasure, and the crew of the treasure was by far superior to what we experienced on the Wish. Now, these cruises are changing all the time. Every time they add a new boat, they take some of the best, they move them over to the next boat. So I think there's an element of like, we got some of the best on the treasure. There were a number of folks that we had met previously in the Fantasy, or we'd met previously on the Wonder when we did Alaska. And I think you remember me telling you, like, the Wonder, the crew there was just over the top phenomenal. And this one would give them a run for its money, I would say.
Nice. Well, a big thing going on right now is there are no Alaska sailings because that would be awful.
Yeah, I mean, like it's too cold, right? But the Wonder is somewhere, right? It's in the south, and I imagine
is the Wonder the one that just left Australia?
Yeah, right. Which Disney's no longer doing Australian cruises anymore.
Last time in Australia.
Yeah. I'm sure that's a temporary thing, and I'm sure a lot of it has to do with the fact that they've got the adventure down there. But yeah, so this boat is pretty controversial. I would say the Triton class is pretty controversial, right? There's a lot of hate for the Wish, which was the first Triton class boat, and I don't despise it, but I will say that when it comes to an at sea day, there's some serious problems with the layout of the ship.
That seems to be the overwhelming critique of the. Do they call it Triton class still, or did they change it to Wish class? Because that's what everybody was calling it anyway.
I'm pretty sure it's just called the Triton class. But let's stick with it. The Triton class, which is the Wish, the Treasure, and the Destiny. So the thing that everybody on the internet talks about is the stairwell situation, right?
Yep. And there's. Like the Dream class is very like you can just wander around and eventually it will land you somewhere, where it sounds like on the Triton class you like wander around down a hallway and then you hit a dead end.
I don't know that you hit a lot of dead ends, with some exceptions. Let me explain. So first of all, let me just talk about the stairwell issue, because I really do think this is overblown. The Dream class has 3 stairwells, right? One in the main area, in the gallery, right, and then 2 in the back. And the
one
Triton
in the front,
class has
in the back.
It's really 2 in the back.
What do you mean? You've got one in the atrium when you enter. You've got one forward of that and one aft of that.
There's 3 total. I thought the 2 are in the back. Hold on. I got to pull this up because it's going to drive me nuts. So this conversation actually is probably going to make my point regardless. The 2 of those are heavily trafficked and 1 is not, in my experience. Now, from sailing with me that I don't often know which way is, the one in the back. The one behind Cabanas is rarely trafficked. That's what I'm thinking of. So you're right. There's one in the front by Cove Cafe. We should talk about Cove Cafe because that was really frustrating on this boat.
Oh, no.
So the one in the back though, not a lot of action because it is literally in the very back of the boat. So these 2 on the Triton class are a little more centrally located. I don't know numbers. I think the number of actual elevators per bank is higher. it's definitely got to be higher in the main gallery. And that like, I guess on the Dream would be the mid one, but it's the forward one. And I don't think it's as big of a problem as people make it out to be, is what I would say. Right. Because I really don't believe that back set of elevators on the Dream class is used much, right? Because it's literally right in front of the back cabins. It's all the way back there. So anyhow, I think that's overblown. Everybody makes a big to do about it, including my son. It is
Who
what
loves running around the ships anyway.
Yeah. Well, he gets around quite a bit. He gets, I'll say that. Okay. So, in terms of dead ends, I didn't find a lot of dead ends, but I will say that this boat pushes you towards the middle in the way that it's laid out. Right. And so I think there might be less bars on this boat. I think the main bar, the Skipper Society on this one, I'm drawing a blank on what it's called now on the Wish, has an open plan, kind of like the French Quarter does on the Wonder, right? Which I've told you in the past, I love. Like, that's my favorite place to hang out on any Disney ship ever. And so you get that kind of effect, but it's still in the middle of the boat, which is kind of cool. And I dig that. The Star Wars bar on the Wish and the Haunted Mansion bar on the Treasure are too small and they're too crowded. So I find those quite unpleasant. The theming, like if you're into that, cool. When I was on the Wish, there was actually a time limit for how long you could stay in the Star Wars bar. They weren't doing that on the Haunted Mansion, which was good. The Scat Cat Lounge is way too small. I don't even know what the Scat Cat replaces, if that's supposed to replace Ooh La La. I guess maybe because of the piano bar theme. But it's down in the main area where, like right off the open atrium area, right? And so that was kind of annoying, because I would have loved to have hung out in there, but every time I went in there, like literally every single seat was taken, and there's no place to stand to hang out. So not great, right?
Yep.
A lot of the bars up deck, they're just like on the other boats. It was cold and it was windy, and sometimes it was raining, so those weren't getting a lot of traffic. The problem then is like, that's it. You got the Rose, which is up in like Palo territory, but the Rose is a different beast, because if you're going up there, like, first of all, I'm not going to my flip flops, right? I think they'd let me, but I'm just not going to do it. And I guess that's the equivalent of the Meridian functionally, right? Yeah. And the Meridian, actually, I think they actually do turn you away if you're not wearing slacks, if I recall.
Yeah, so they changed the hours, because that used to be open more often than it is, and now it's like open for pre-dinner time, and then they have they've got the dress code all up there.
Yeah, it's not very accessible, right? So the Rose replaces that. But if you think about like the number of things, and you got the pub, which the pub is comparable, but you're missing, like, what is it, the Skyline or whatever that's on the Dream?
Yeah, I was wondering if Scat Cat was kind of like Skyliner.
I think Scat Cat is supposed to be like Ooh La La, right?
So what's Ooh La La on the Dream?
Oh my gosh, what the
District?
No. Okay, what's the Champagne place? Pink,
yeah, Dumbo themed.
Isn't Ooh La La what it is on the Fantasy? Am I
that
like
could be? I haven't been on the Fantasy, so
okay. So that bar, that's what I think the Scat Cat replaces, right?
Okay.
But it's a totally different vibe, because it's in the main walkway, right? But It's a piano bar. That's principally what it is. The Periscope on the Treasure, that was great. Really enjoyed that. It just so happened that I started reading 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
At home. So
for those playing at home. So it just so happens that I started to read 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea on this cruise, and that's what the theme of this boat, or that pub is. And for those that don't know, Disney, like, their first live action film was 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and they that was kind of like their foray into live action. It's like what validated, what justified, what rationalized them as something more than an animation studio. So it's kind of a cool little nod, But the problem is, I think there's less space. There's less, bar space in general, and there's so much foot traffic pushed past the bars that they're more crowded. So the District, right, which I really like the District in the back of the Dream, It's a little out of the way, right? Like you got the one elevator bank back there,
Yeah.
but it's a thing unto itself. If you're on the Wonder, you've got the Cadillac Lounge or whatever that's way up front.
Mhm.
It's like it's a little out of the way. Like you got to go find it. These you just kind of like dump yourself into it, which is kind of like the French Quarter on the Wonder, but you don't have as many people on the Wonder, and so I think that plays into it as well. I don't know. I feel like the bar stuff is more centrally located. It pushes foot traffic there. I didn't have the dead end situation. I will say that the
Okay.
whole Palo thing is a little difficult to get to unless you know what you're doing, because there's only a couple elevators to go all the way up there. And if you don't take the elevator, you take the stairwell, which is next to Marceline Market, which I should talk about a little bit too here. But when you walk up that stairwell, you're at the Hero Zone, right? Which is their like indoor gym, which was super cool. And you have to you're facing the gym. You got to go left and then left. And there's a nondescript door that you go through, and then boom, you're walking into the rows, and then you go into the various restaurants.
So that is similar to the Dream. Like Palo's not super easy to get to on the Dream either.
Right.
You have to kind of know where you're going. I think part of that is by design. Have you done any of the Art of the Theme tours on any of the ships?
I've not. I probably should have done on this one because I had plenty of time, but it is what it is.
So basically, like the theming. So when you're entering like adults only areas, there's like built into kind of the vibe of it, something that makes it seem a little spooky or like kids aren't supposed to be there. So the kids will naturally turn away. So in the district, it gets dark.
It gets very dark. Yeah.
The carpet changes, things like that. So like you're a little kid, it's like, oh, this doesn't seem like the place for me. And so I wonder if Palo is intentionally difficult to get to so kids don't just wander by it all the time.
That could be. We went to Enchante twice. We went to the Rose once. And what I will say,
did you get the Rose cocktail?
I did not get the Rose cocktail.
Okay.
Just so to clarify, pink on the Dream, Ooh La La on the Fantasy. Those are the champagne bars. Scat Cat is not explicitly a champagne bar, but it is a piano bar. If you recall from Pink, and Ooh La La is basically the same thing as Pink. There's a piano, right? Like that's the central thing, a baby grand. So I think the district has more space and was more intimate than Skipper Society, right? Which is the main bar area. I don't actually like Europa on the Fantasy. So you've been on the Dream with me. I've spent a lot of time in the district. I don't care for the Europa area on the Fantasy. And I finally figured out why. I had a heated debate with Henry. So the district, right, there's a stage and then there's seating around the stage and there's a walkway and then there's the bar, right? And so it's like theater style, right? In terms of the way that it amplifies. On the Fantasy, the bar is smack dab in the middle and you can walk around both sides, right? And so you don't have central entertainment in the same way. And you got a lot of like foot traffic in front of you. So the seating there is more like, what do you call it? Like benches where you slide into rather than tables or free floating tables. They're like little circular benches.
Interesting.
And it can be intimate if you're just talking to somebody, but you don't. I really like the entertainment atmosphere, which is again like why I like the French Quarter on the Wonder so much. But
so is this like Evolution on the Dream?
Evolution. Which one's Evolution?
Evolution is the one where they do like karaoke and stuff. It's got the big butterfly on the ceiling above the bar that's centrally located. We don't spend a lot of time there.
Oh no, that's more like Triton Lounge. And here's the thing though, or Sarabi, because this is another kind of oddity to the Treasure. The Treasure has this multi-floor. It's not a bar. It's just a venue called Sarabi. And then off of it is the Triton Lounge. And the Triton Lounge is where they do a lot of the karaoke stuff. Sarabi is a cool space, but it doesn't count as a bar. So between these two, they're kind of different spins on both Evolution and the D Lounge.
Okay.
All right, because there's no D lounge. The Triton lounge is the closest thing to that, except it's way smaller than the D
Yeah, I
lounge,
think
and Sarabi is bigger than Evolution.
so. Where do they do like animation classes or things like that?
So all over the place. They do some of those in Skipper.
Okay.
They do some of those in the Hey Hey Cafe, and they might have done some in Triton Lounge too. I don't know, but
Okay.
they're kind of scattered all over the place. Yeah. So okay, all right. Just a very different take on bar location, venue location. Not bad, just different, right? But I think the thing that this class of ship has done is put them in a more centrally trafficked area so that they're going to get more people in them, right?
Yeah.
You and I have watched live entertainment in the Dream back in the district with like two other people, right?
Right.
Which is probably not, it's probably not great, but it also is kind of nice for the two people that
For
show
us,
up, you know?
right.
Yeah. So you got that element to it, right? The Cove Cafe is the second biggest offense of this boat to me.
Okay.
All right.
Tell me
And
more.
the problem with the Cove Cafe is related to the fact that you cannot walk around this boat. So the places where the dead ends are, right? You have deck 4, right? You can go upstairs and around the front if you want, but you can't go around on the back. Those are dead ends. Interestingly, you can walk down those stairwells if you are in safety boat, whatever S. They will have you exit after your safety orientation down those, which I have no idea why they're not open all the time based upon what I saw. Like I have no idea. It doesn't make any sense.
Okay.
Now it's not the same level, right? And so that's different than deck 4. What I would say is deck 4 on this boat, it just doesn't get a lot of love, right? Because people don't go out and just walk around, like do laps where they do on every other Disney boat. That is absolutely a thing. Some people are jogging, some people are just walking, socializing. Like it's a very animated area. Because you don't have that, it pushes people inside. And I think that is a factor in why this boat feels more crowded to me. Now, I was on a cruise that was 75% capacity, right? And it felt more crowded to me than any other cruise I've been on.
Interesting.
Very interesting, right? All right. So,
Yeah, especially
let's talk
since
the Cove.
capacity is based on 2 people per stateroom. And like Disney has, you can fit what, up to 7 people in a stateroom? No. 5 people in a stateroom?
Five. I don't know how you would possibly do 7. 5, right. I know you can do. Five you can do, yeah. Yeah, it was odd. Like in part of it I want to chalk up to the weather, but I've like on the Wonder Cruise, which was pretty full, and there were kids, there were all kinds of things going on. That cruise didn't feel as crowded, and people like they went out on deck, but not for long. You know, so that's the other thing. Like I can't wrap my head around everything that's going on, but I think this deck 4 situation is at least part of it. All right. Now, up on the top deck, what you have is a situation where when you walk to the back and you are on the starboard side, you'll go all the way to aft, and you will find yourself in an infinity pool in front of the Cove bar. Okay. The infinity pool, kind of cool. Also a little treacherous when the boat is rocking, creates these really crazy swirls that will like just throw you around. I experienced these firsthand. If you keep walking then to the port side, you'll get to the entrance to the Cove Cafe. Now, the entire time that I've been walking from starboard near the rear elevator, right, all the way around the back to get to the Cove Cafe, I'm outside.
Yep.
Completely exposed, right? Now,
in bad
the
weather.
Cove Cafe in bad weather. The Cove Cafe on the Dream and the Fantasy is technically outdoors, right? But there's overhead cover to get there. And you have no horrible side winds. So to get to the Cove Cafe was awful. Like it was genuinely awful. Now, if you miss the Cove Cafe and you keep walking past it on the port side, you will hit a dead end, which I'm not even sure what's on the other side of that. I don't know if it's got to be maybe Enchante.
Okay.
Apollo could be. I don't know. I'm not totally sure. But that's a dead end, right? And that makes no sense. It's just bad design at that point. But the Cove Cafe is one of those places where on previous cruises, I think, in fact, the last cruise that I went on with you, I think I went every morning to get my wife coffee after I went to the gym, right? And then came back. So the gym on this class boat sucks too, to be clear. Like the problem with it though, I don't know. Well, there's a bunch of problems with it. But I think I only went to the Cove twice on a 7-day cruise, which is unusual. So
now they have like a coffee bar somewhere else on the ship, right? Off the atrium
they
usually.
have yeah. So they have the Hey Cafe, and it's great, but they don't have all of the accoutrements in terms of the types of things that they can make. So one of the things I love about the Cove Cafe is I walk up and I pick my bean, right? And I pick my method of brewing. Do I want an AeroPress, a Chemex, a siphon? Like you choose the option, right?
I have never done any of these things, so I should probably book a cruise with you again.
So, you know, it's funny. You're definitely one of these like do as I say, not as I do kind of types.
Like this, I didn't tell you about. I told you about the snacks, and I go in for the snacks all the time.
Yeah. But here's the funny thing: they don't have those at the Cove on the Treasure. So like the little cranberry bars that are epic, or the charcuterie boards. The charcuterie boards are available in Marceline every day at lunch. But yeah,
like
that
for
was
that
actually
5 o'clock adults only. Like I'm tired of people.
It's not there, man.
For that?
It's not there.
Interesting.
Yeah. And the coffee was good. The coffee was great. Don't get me wrong. But that coffee with a little cranberry cream cheese frosting, like square or whatever, like that's next level. So I am curious to see if the treats survived on the older boats. Yeah, but Cove Cafe, that was a big letdown for me. I think Deck 4 is just an all-around disappointment. I think it drives people inside.
Did they still have like comfy loungers and things like that on Deck 4 or no?
They were all, the only time I only went on Deck 4 like twice. And both times they were all roped up because of the wind.
Okay.
Right?
Because like that's a nice calm place. Like you've spent days there. So.
I've spent days there. Yeah. In fact, one of my favorite things to do in Nassau is to not get off the boat, but to sit on those chairs and watch the super cruisers, the super yachts, go back and forth. Right. So
you know what my favorite thing to do at Nassau is?
Nap.
No. So I always go up to, on the Dream, it's the Meridian, and on the one side you can go out, and it's a smoking area. So I think every time we've been out in Nassau, I take my pipe up there, and I
there you go.
Pipe wasn't important. So
yeah, I couldn't tell you. I don't think there's a venue like that on this boat. There are the smoking sections, and I will say that in terms of the placement of those, they're a little more out of the way. Like I don't have to go walk through them to get to the adult section.
That's good.
Yeah, but in general, I don't think that if that experience exists, I don't know where it is. So,
interesting.
So John, I tried to do everything you ever told me to do on this cruise. Right.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, everything.
I was gonna. So the first thing I put in our agenda was John the Influencer, because I feel like I live by influence at work. I have no authority, but I feel like I've also influenced you, as you are on what number sailing was this? 7?
8.
The 8th sailing of the Disney cruise, and drinking wine and going out of your way to know things about wine. So
I had like, as far as wine goes, this was a fascinating cruise too. But let me just rewind a little bit here. So things that I know Jonathan Kohlmeyer wants me to do on a boat, right? I got to have some chicken tenders, and I got to have some pizza. Right.
So the chicken tenders one I did not know about until our first cruise, and I think that just because we were doing late dining, and they really hit the spot, man. So
they do hit the spot. I don't want to spoil a meal, so I made sure I had 2 chicken tenders on the total of the whole cruise. I had 2 different times, right? But I also know that if John Kohlmeyer,
I don't know if I would ever be able to get just 1 chicken tender. So
well, listen, man,
kudos to you, man.
My mantra on this was I'm going to sample everything, right? So I did that. I went to the new barbecue place, tried everything that they had to offer, right? Which that place is pretty awesome. And then I went to the cantina actually a couple times, and again sampled that. I went to Marceline, which when we were on the Wish, we never went to Marceline because we were staying in concierge, and they have a whole different like lunchtime dining setup. Marceline is phenomenal. Marceline is better than Cabanas. That's my hot take right here on the podcast. The Marceline Market is better than Cabanas.
I like it.
I had coconut shrimp one day. That was phenomenal. I had the charcuterie thing I mentioned. I had chicken marsala one point. All kinds of just great stuff, right? And I went with small portions, tried as much as I could. I did dessert almost every lunch. I had ice cream, John. I had ice cream. Like, I don't normally get ice cream from the self-serve machines, honestly, because they kind of gross me out. You got kids like they're like all of them. But on the Triton class, it's behind a counter and they're served to you, right? And so
nice.
that was like, I just felt better about that. By the way, Marceline, everything is served for you. There's no like you reach in and scoop around.
Nice.
Which also superior in every way, shape, and form.
Why? Because people are gross.
People are very gross. Yes. But
how does Henry feel about this? Because I know Henry really likes to see how tall can you get the ice cream cone. So
everything about being served food annoyed him, whether it was in Marceline or elsewhere. Like it really, really bothered him. So I did all that. I did room service. I got my hamburger from room service that I love, right? And got my movie theater popcorn with my refills. I got a Mickey bar on the last day at lunch, right?
Nice.
Yeah.
But not delivered to your room?
Not delivered to my room because it was a moment of opportunity and I was like, I'm going to go for it. Sure. I went to Enchante for dinner and brunch. Mm-hmm. I did not go to Palo, which is fine. But I will tell you, Enchante
this is Palo Steakhouse too, so I don't know a lot about Palo Steakhouse.
Oh, is it different than the Palo we've been to?
I think it's just extended steak menus.
Oh, okay.
Like there's other staples and things, but
I've had phenomenal Wagyu at Palo, so and at Remy actually. But anyhow, Enchante was phenomenal. We did the collection one night. We did the portraiture the other day, and we had the same waiter. And because we told him up front that we were going to come again on the cruise, he actually helped us strategize how to get the most exposure between the 2 days. And
that's
then
awesome.
When we came back out for brunch, his name is Enzo from Italy, delightful human being. I mean, absolutely phenomenal.
I wonder if he was my Palo waiter once.
Oh, I don't know. All right. So Enzo, though, on the lunch day, asked me if there was anything that I really loved from the collection on the previous day. And I told him, like, I had this sirloin Wagyu. It was a non-standard Wagyu cut, and it was just unbelievably good, right? And so I told him that, and he was like, well, why don't we substitute the pigeon pie for that Wagyu today? And I was like, oh, I can do that. I said, of course, why not, right? So we did that. And then I told him, I said, well, I was thinking about ordering a side of the gnocchi because I really wanted to try the truffle because they had actual truffle.
Pause. So you remember the Twisties?
Yes.
From my work. They listened to the pasta episode where you pronounced that particular noodle like that. And everybody is up in arms about your pronunciation because it's supposed to be gnocchi. And I told them, well, he's learning Italian, so eventually it will correct itself. So.
Enzo was very forgiving for all of my Italian pronunciations. I tried many things. Gnocchi. So it was a very delicate French gnocchi, not an Italian gnocchi. And Enzo was, he made that very clear to me, right? But he let me substitute another thing in this portraiture menu. And then I got 5 grams of fresh shaved truffle. So I've had truffle infused things, but this was like thinly, and I took a picture of it just to show you.
Nice.
And the truffle itself was incredible. They've got this wild contraption that they bring it out. It's this big stone ball, and they open it up and they'll like just show it to you. And it's not a thing they always have. And yeah, it was pretty wild. I did learn that the Enchante menu is seasonal. So if you remember on
Nice.
the Wish, we had a tomato experience, the tomato water. Remember we were talking about that? Like it was just
Yeah.
incredible. They did not have that. They had some other stuff, which was good, but I learned that it was seasonal. So I have to go back when they've got the summer menu to get the tomato experience again. But we did a wine pairing one night. We did the champagne pairing another night. And those are fantastic. And the champagne pairing, I had Dom Perignon and I had Cristal, which, like as you said on text, right? It reminded me of all of my favorite rap music.
Right. Living that thug life, Stan.
Living that thug life. Yeah. I got no regrets. I've got no regrets, but it's good. Enchante is one of those things. It's stupid expensive. Like it is not, not everyone should do it, but everyone should try is what I would say. Right.
So I have not been to any of the French restaurants. So I've never been to Remy. I've not been on the Triton class, so not on Enchante. I've been to Palo.
Remy is so good.
The Palo food is probably better than anything I've had on land. The Remy or the Palo service is definitely better than anything I've had anywhere else.
Yeah, so the way they advertise Enchante is it's a Michelin star chef, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's lots of courses. They're all small. They're very specific. There's a story with each one, right? And if you're interested in the story, then you have a fantastic conversation to go along with it. Same with the wine, right? And it just so happened that the sommelier that we had at Enchante on the Treasure was our sommelier at Enchante on the Wish. And
nice.
so, they meet all kinds of people. They're not going to remember me, but right. I was able to make the connection. And it just, I don't know, man, it makes for a good conversation. It makes for a really good conversation, a really good time. And it's a couple hours of, truckload of money.
Well, that's the other thing too, is this is a nice leisurely meal too.
Yeah.
It's what dining should be, Stan, but we live in America, so we're always rushing to the next thing.
We live in America. Yeah. All right. Speaking of dining, we should talk about the 3 restaurants. Okay. So on the Wish, there's 1923. There is the World of Marvel, and then there is the Frozen themed restaurant. I don't know what it's actually called. On the Treasure, you still have 1923. You still have World of Marvel, and then you have Coco. All right. Mm-hmm. Coco and Frozen are in the same space. They're on deck 5, and they're at the very back of the boat. So they're actually windows on the back of this class of ship, and you can look out if you want. Right now,
and see the stern character. Usually,
you can see the stern character. Yes, and I grabbed a photo of the stern character, which was Captain Hook, which you can't do any other boat, like from that perspective, right?
Yep.
At night, you're not going to be able to see out of it, so it's not great from that perspective. But it's a super cool space. And what I would say is, the Frozen show was cool. The Frozen food was meh. Right? Like they were trying to do a Norwegian style food. And I'm sorry, Norwegian food, not interesting. Yeah. Writes us podcast at twistedlemonpod.com with all your complaints. Norwegian food is lame.
But they have fjords. So
they have fjords, right? They have fjords. The one on the Treasure is Coco themed. And I had not seen Coco before.
This is one of the things I most look forward to on the Treasure.
Okay. It is so wicked cool. It is awesome. And the food is phenomenal. So we went to Enchante dinner and actually came to Coco afterwards. Our kids were there just to catch the show and have chips and salsa, to be completely frank with you. On the second night, they had a wine flight, Tres Reces. I don't know if I pronounced that right.
They had a wine flight on the menu?
A wine flight. They had a wine flight on the menu. So, wow. It's this Spanish winery that they have a Sauvignon Blanc, a Tempranillo, and a Caladoc red blend. All right. Nice. Tell me you're not intrigued just a bit. Right?
I'm very intrigued.
Yeah.
There's no way I skip that.
Okay. So it was 3 3-ounce pours. Okay. For $22, which on a cruise ship for good wine, like 9 ounces. Come on. It's great. But what I'll tell you is the Sauvignon Blanc was just fantastic. Lots of minerality and just some stone fruit in there, like nice, good complexity. The Tempranillo was everything you love about a Tempranillo, All right, and then the Caladoc. The Caladoc red blend was complex but gentle. Like there were layers on it. It opened up with time and air.
So it was like a good table wine.
It was a fantastic table wine. It was so fantastic that I asked my because again I'm channeling John Kohlmeyer, right? So what's the in this moment I'm thinking to myself, what is the impossible thing that Disney can deliver magically, right? And the impossible thing was, I am sitting in Coco. This is a Coco exclusive. I want a bottle of the Caladoc, not tomorrow night, but in 2 nights when I'm in World of Marvel, right? That's so.
Tell me they did this for you.
So I explained this to Vivi, and she's like, "Yeah, absolutely, we'll make it happen." Right? John, I didn't have to remind her.
Oh no,
I didn't have to remind her at all. So because just to understand, like the next night we were 1923. 1923 has a very nice wine menu, and I wanted to order something off of that wine menu because they've got like just a wider range of glasses that you can order. And then we back in World of Marvel, and it's just like the 6 or 7 standard glasses that they've got floating around. Yeah, John's doing the little thing. We should talk about the seating on the plane too. Right. So yeah, she showed up with the bottle, and it was just as good as I remembered. The reason I thought this was plausible was because of the first time we were in 1923. I had that morning been to a wine tasting, and I've never done a wine tasting on the cruise ship before. I did a mojito tasting on our Mediterranean cruise in order to see, because there's like that space in one of the smokestacks that's not actually a smokestack.
Although now they're suites, right?
Right, that now they're suites. So when we were in the Mediterranean, I knew that this boat had not been dry docked and that it had not been converted. And I'd never been up there. And there was a tasting up there. And I don't really care about mojitos. Like, that's not my jam. But I thought, we'll go do a mojito tasting so that I can see that space. And so we were up there to just try it out, blah, blah, blah. But that's really like the only tasting that we've done other than there's like a juice thing that Sarah likes to do before we leave, right? Which is not done anymore because they got rid of that on the Dream Class too. Anyhow, we did this wine tasting, and the sommelier from Paulo comes down. Her name was Gabriella from Brazil and Portugal. She was delightful. I got pictures of all the bottles, John, but there were 2 that we had that jumped out at me as just spectacular. So the first 3 were white wines. They were all actually quite good. And she talked about these with passion, and there was a story, and she would talk about old versus new and like what was going on. And there was like a little bit of back and forth about what we were tasting or smelling and so forth. It was really good. You would have enjoyed it. So we did 3 whites. They were all spectacular. And then we jumped to the first red. And but I should tell you, of the whites, 2 of them identified by smell before we started. You'd be proud.
Nice.
Yeah. The third one was a rosé.
I could do that with whites.
So totally tripped me up. Well, I was rocking it. So first wine comes up, and I was like, "Oh, it's Pinot Noir," and it was.
Well, that's an easy one to smell. So,
well, I thought so. This is a Pinot Noir called King Estate from Willamette Valley in Oregon, right? Okay. And she talked a little bit about Oregon being on the scene and all of that. But this one was crazy complex. Like it was had the funk on the nose, but just lots of layers. And I, at this moment, had decided I was going to have another glass of this wine. Now, I thought it was going to be a bottle, but instead, turns out that I grabbed a glass of that while watching Zootopia 2 with the last bottle on the boat that just so happened to be at Preludes. So there you go. The next one was a Chianti, which I called. The third one I thought was a Bordeaux. And it turns out that that's exactly what this gentleman, Robert Mondavi, was trying to accomplish. And there's this whole like story in the 70s with a competition where he goes toe to toe with Bordeaux and he's the winner, right? But it was a Cab Sav from Napa Valley. And as you know, I don't particularly care for California wines. This was so stinking good that when I got to 1923 that night, I had it on my brain that there's got to be another bottle of this somewhere on the boat, right? And so I said, Vivi, can you, that's our drink, the assistant server, the lady who handles the drinks, like, can you please go ask the sommelier if he can find this Robert Mondavi bottle that I had at the tasting, right? And she went and got him, and he knew exactly what I was referring to because he had actually been at the wine tasting in the morning as well. Right?
Nice.
Tracked it down, and I also, channeling my inner coal miner, decided I would ask if they could decant it for me, right? In this moment, I'm realizing I have never seen a decanter in the dining space at these restaurants.
Mm.
Okay. So it turns out the only decanters they have are actually up in the rows, right?
Of course.
So someone ran to the opposite end of the boat, both vertically and horizontally, to find me a decanter. It turns out that the decanter could not be washed in the 1923, dish.
They wash them
area.
with special water.
Well, they've got a special machine or something. Like it's delicate glassware, right?
Okay.
So she had to take the dirty one back up to the rows when all was said and done. But fantastic bottle of wine. And I am determined to find a case of this and to get it. That's
nice.
Like I want to have this on my wine rack. So that was the wine tasting experience. The champagne tasting experience, same sommelier, just as fantastic. Just as fantastic.
But you have less exposure to champagne.
I do, but I will say that I tried, let me think now. I tried 11 different types of champagne on this cruise.
Wow.
Not full glasses, mind you, but
Sure.
11 distinct glasses. Because I went to the champagne tasting and then we did the champagne experience. Oh, actually, no, I'm sorry. 13 bottles. 13 different bottles. Yeah.
All right. Well, next time Lemon and John cruise together, I think we kick off the cruise with a glass of champagne.
I think we kick off the cruise with a glass of champagne. I think we also find ourselves like all I could think this whole time. I was having a fantastic time with my wife, but I was like, man, I wish Colmeyer was here for the wine tasting, for the champagne tasting.
So we had scheduled some tastings on that cruise just coming out of COVID, and we ended up canceling them.
We did because honestly, it was your fault. First of all,
it was my fault.
Yeah, it was your fault. Because I don't know what I'm doing, right? I'm like, oh well, got to fill up the time.
I've never done a tasting, so
never did a tasting. I booked a whole bunch of things, and then we get on the boat, and John is introducing me to wine, and they were having stories and conversations. It's like, well, what do we need a tasting for? I just want to try another bottle of wine, So
True.
There you go. One of the best bottles of white, by the way, that I had was from Louis Jadot, which I know you like. You like their Burgundy quite a bit, and
I think Ever Chamberton, yeah.
Yeah. So, trying to think, what else have I not told you about from the cruise, Jonathan?
Did you accomplish your mission to get something that was memorable from the sweet shop?
I went and got gelato.
Was it memorable?
As it was the only gelato that I had on the cruise, yes.
Well, you've gotten gelato before because I was with you in Vanellope's, but
yeah, here's the problem. So having been to Italy and had gelato repeatedly, it is so much better in Rome than anywhere I've had, anywhere, right?
Yep.
And so it was fine. Like it was fine gelato. You Americans would be perfectly satisfied with the gelato. But I don't know. It was American gelato. That's all.
Like none of the cupcakes or little cakes caught your interest.
I didn't get any of those. I was not in need of any more sweets, to be honest with you. So I wanted a gelato. They had, I think I got butter pecan, and it was good. It wasn't great. It was good. All
right.
I will say, if you have the chance to go to Rome and try gelato, two things. First of all, you always get two flavors. That's what they do. Get two different flavors. That's the expectation. You should embrace it. Second, you say cone crema, and you get it with whipped cream on top, right? And that's like, if it's really like on point, they'll do a little biscotti, a little cookie on top. But
there you go.
Yeah, none of that on the treasure.
Not on the ship. Okay. Disney has time to improve.
Yeah, I don't even know what else to tell you. Like
Did you ever
it was
find
a
the
good cruise.
inflatable course?
No, I did not.
Didn't create a
I didn't
course?
really
Okay.
like go looking for it. It's probably in that indoor gym thing.
Yep.
There was crawling with kids. Like I wasn't going to spend a lot of time there, you know? Yeah.
What else? You weren't outside because the weather was terrible. I've heard that the adult pool deck is significantly smaller than Dream Class.
I don't know that that's true. So there's some stuff up in the front which was all sealed off. That actually is reminiscent of what's on the Dream Class. There's a hot tub on the starboard side, and then there's the infinity pool and 2 hot tubs at the total aft by the Cove bar. So I actually would dare to say I think there's more by volume, but
Just not all concentrated.
it's not all concentrated. And that's kind of the thing with this Triton class, right? So if you go down the kiddie pools, I actually think those pools might be smaller in size than on the Dream class, but there's more of them, right? There's more small ones rather than a big one. And I like in some respects, that's kind of the deck layout on this class. Is it better? I don't know. I'm not getting in a pool with a bunch of kids on a Disney cruise. Like that's not happening. There's that like hot tub infinity pool thing that's going on what is it, deck 10 on the Dream, right? That's like broken half the time, or
It's not
it's got
infinity pool. They've got windows in the bottom, which is kind of creepy.
okay. So it's not an infinity pool like you would think at a beach resort, but if you remember, the water goes right up to the like edge of deck 10, and then there's a couple of like circles, right, that are in the floor that are see-through, and you can see those actually in deck 4 because they overhang. So that none of that's there. That's not on the Triton class at all. The infinity pool at the back of the ship is adult only. It's I don't know that there's less. I think there's probably comparable. It's just distributed differently, is what I would say.
Okay. All right. So where does the treasure rank on the ships you've been on?
It's tricky. So the Wonder is still my favorite ship. I think I prefer the Dream. My kids vehemently disagree with me on this. We've spent more time on the Fantasy at this point, but I'm such a fan of the District that that really kind of a downside to me for the Fantasy.
What do your kids like about the Fantasy that the Dream doesn't have?
It's what they would tell you is they think the styling is like more appealing to them. But beyond that, they love that boat because they spent more time on it.
So they're into the Art Nuevo.
Yeah, I guess, man.
I would be completely opposite. So,
so for me, Wonder, probably Dream. I honestly, I think I might actually put the Treasure next, and then the Fantasy. That's my hot take for you. I think the Treasure has some really great theming, and that Coco restaurant between Coco and Enchante, they are just awesome. I really enjoy both those.
Nice. Cool. Well, I'm glad you had a good trip despite the weather.
Yeah, I survived, right? I think here's the bottom line. So, I could look at it as we missed 2 ports. All of our excursions were canceled. It was cold, though much warmer than here. It was windy and it rained occasionally. Or I could recognize that it was in fact warmer. I was being pampered. I was not at work, and I was far enough away from everything that I was able to like really reset and relax. I will say I need to bring more with me to do on the boat. I started by reading H.G. Wells' The Time Machine, which I didn't particularly care for. And I really needed a fluff novel. I brought heady reading. So I brought H.G. Wells' The Time Machine. I brought Jules Verne's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. And then in case I got there, I only made it through halfway of Jules Verne. I also brought Mark Twain's Connecticut Yankee and King Arthur's Court, which didn't get to, but those are all like heady readings compared to, like a nice Star Wars fluff novel, right? So, that was a lesson learned, especially when you have cancellations like that. And I think I've been I've been hesitant to bring my laptop on these trips, but I think I should. I really think I should.
Okay. Why is that, Stan?
Well, I found like I've thought a lot about this because I had a lot of time to think about it. My hobbies as of late are writing code. That has nothing to do with work. Doesn't even look like the code I write at work. And I really need my laptop to do that. I did a little bit using my wife's iPad and Codex in the cloud. And I got some stuff done, but not what I wanted to. And it was like slower. And there were some things that I would have liked to have been able to like validate or try without having to push up into a remote system and run it, kind of thing. So for me, I think what I need to consider is bringing the laptop and just embracing that I'm going to do stuff with it that's not work, and then figure out a way to not do adulting with it, right? Mm-hmm. So don't balance my checkbook, don't look at my email. That's the challenge I think I need to sort through, that I've tried to protect against, but the truth is, like, I don't think I should go on this cruise and rest and reset and then ignore my hobbies.
Fair enough. So I'm thinking, like, you need a good old, good Deck 4, your laptop, and I think that will be more important for you, or more impactful for you, than back in the day when you would code during a blizzard that shut down the city for a week.
Yeah. So, lessons learned, opportunities. I am thinking ahead to the next cruise. I've got my eyes set on the Destiny. I think at the risk
next
of a
cruise is through Panama Canal, right?
That's the next one that's booked, right?
It's super long, right?
It is super long. But that's the next one that's booked. That's not the next cruise. That's just the next one that's booked.
Okay.
All right. So the question becomes, like, is it one or two cruises before Panama? I don't know.
When is that? Is that next year, or is it?
Yeah, it's sometime next year. Yeah. It's like close to summer, right?
I mean, I don't have the PTO that you have, so I was eyeing some 5-nighters on my favorite itinerary that stops at both Disney Islands. So
like, this is what's been on my mind: Destiny in the fall, 5-night. Hit up Castaway Key and Lighthouse, and then your finger quotes at sea day at Nassau, right?
Right.
So, yeah, no, it was a good trip, John. I'm glad to be back. I will say I've got a lot of catch up to do on the AI front. I feel like the amount of stuff that happened last week was honestly a little overwhelming to me. So, Xcode's got a whole new agentic mode in the 2.3 beta. Codex, like, ChatGPT released a Codex app for your Mac, and then they're doing something crazy. They're 2x credits when you use the app until April.
Okay, so you're saying I need to actually jump on my New Year's resolutions and start coding again?
I'm just saying, like, now is the time. So far, the app looks super cool. Opus 4.6 dropped on the Claude side. It looks pretty stellar. Since I last subscribed to Claude, which honestly was just December.
Right?
Yeah. There's a whole new Apple Health integration, which I've started to play with. I'm still on the waiting list for ChatGPT and haven't gotten it. Cursor's done a bunch of things too. Like, I honestly, the last week, a whole bunch of stuff happened and it all looks super cool. And so I got back, I was like, man, I don't have enough time. I gotta try all this before I go back to work, So, gonna do some of that, and then we'll talk about it, I guess, when I'm done.
All right. Sounds like a plan.
All right, my friend. I think that's about as good as we can do.
You know what we didn't talk about? How much longer do you want to go? We didn't talk about your hat and how you got it.
Oh, my Disney Cruise Line hat. We'll save that for next time, because that's a story in its own right. I think that requires some setup, and hopefully your internet will be fixed by then too.
Here's hoping. So.
All right, Jonathan. Until next time.
All right, Stanley. Later. Bye.
That's a wrap, yo. Time to unplug. Stan and John just served that mug. Twist of lemon, sharp and clean. Truth and tech on your podcast screen. Catch us next time. Don't let
let it slip. Wisdom packed in every clip. From faith to fiber, finance to code. We're taking the mic